The sun hung low over the western plains, painting the sky with streaks of molten gold. Dust rolled across the barren earth as the wind whispered through the splintered fences of what used to be a proud ranch. Daniel Hart leaned against the porch post of his weathered farmhouse, hat tilted low to hide the worry in his eyes. His boots were cracked, his hands raw, and his heart heavier than the horizon itself. He'd fought to keep this land, the last thing his father left him. But the cattle were dying, the wells were dry, and the bank was coming for what little he had left. 3 days, the letter said. 3 days, or he'd lose it all. He stared out across the golden fields, wondering if the land was mocking him. Then something strange happened. The ground trembled softly, like the earth itself was waking up. Dust rose from the far ridge, and a shadow stretched across the prairie. At first, Daniel thought it was a mirage, but as the shape grew closer, he realized it wasn't a trick of the light, it was a woman. A giant woman. She strode across the plains with boots the size of wagons, her long blonde hair shimmering like sunlight through wheat. Her hat cast a shadow big enough to cool half the yard. She stopped at his fence, resting one massive hand on a post that barely reached her knee. "So," she said, her voice rolling like distant thunder, "you're the one running this patch of dirt?" Daniel straightened. "Name's Daniel Hart, and yeah, this here's my ranch, or what's left of it." Her lips curled into a smile. "Heard a man named Hart owed more land than he could keep. Thought I'd see it for myself." "And who might you be?" he asked, squinting up at her. She tipped her hat. "Cassidy Coltrane. Folks call me the giant cowgirl." Daniel blinked. "Can't say they're wrong about the first part." She chuckled, the sound echoing through the valley. "Don't worry. Little rancher, I don't step on folks unless they give me reason to." Then her tone softened. "Word is you can't pay your rent." Daniel's pride stiffened. "Word travels fast, huh?" "Yeah, the bank's fixing to take it. I've done all I can." Cassidy leaned forward, her shadow falling over him. "So you say you can't pay your rent," she repeated. "What are you planning to do about it?" He sighed. "Ain't much left to do but let him take it." She studied him quietly. "You got grit?" Daniel Hart, "But grit don't fill barns or pay banks." Her expression softened further. "Maybe you just need someone with a little more reach." He frowned. "You'd help me? Why?" She smiled faintly. "Because even giants hate seeing good men lose what they love." And before Daniel could answer, she turned toward the horizon. "Meet me here at dawn," she said. "We'll see if this ranch can stand tall again." The next morning, the earth shook again. Daniel dropped his hammer and looked up just in time to see Cassidy striding over the hills, carrying entire timber beams under one arm, and a massive water tank slung over her shoulder. "Morning, little rancher," she called. "Brought a few things we'll be needin'." Daniel blinked. "You carried all that from town?" 15 miles ain't far if your legs are big enough," she said with a grin. And so they worked. For hours the ranch buzzed with the sound of rebuilding. Cassidy planted fence posts like toothpicks, hammered nails with her fingertips, and lifted beams Daniel couldn't budge with both hands. He followed behind, tying wire, fixing hinges, and watching in awe as his land, his home, came back to life. By noon the fences stood firm, the barn's roof gleamed new, and the well water flowed clean again. Daniel wiped sweat from his brow. "You sure work faster than 10 men." Cassidy winked. "Try 100. As they worked, they talked. Daniel told her about his father, who'd built the ranch from nothing, and the promise he'd made to keep it standing. Cassidy told him of her life wandering the plains, always searching for a place that didn't flinch when she walked by. "People see me comin'," she said quietly, "and they see trouble. Not many look long enough to see the good." Daniel looked up at her with a small smile. "Maybe you just ain't found the right eyes yet." Before she could answer, a black wagon appeared on the horizon, cutting through the dust. Daniel's face hardened. Mr. Burnley, the banker. He climbed down from his carriage, wiping his shoes on Daniel's land like he owned it. "Hart," he said sharply, "your grace period's been shortened. Your land now belongs to the bank." Daniel's fist tightened. "I still have 3 days, Burnley." "Not anymore." The banker smirked, unfolding a paper. "Contract was revised this morning." A silence fell. Then the ground trembled again, not from fear, but from footsteps. Cassidy rose to her full height behind him, the shadow of her hat falling over the banker like a thundercloud. "I believe," she said evenly, "the man's got 3 days left." Burnley spun, eyes wide. "Well, what are you?" Cassidy knelt, her gaze cold as steel. The one telling you to leave. Burnley stammered, clutching his papers. This land belongs to the bank. Cassidy reached into her vest and pulled out a pouch that jingled like music. She dropped it at his feet and coins spilled across the dirt. That's double what he owes, she said. Now take it and go before I decide to charge rent for standing on my friend's land. Burnley's face went pale. You can't. I just did. He scrambled for the coins, nearly tripping over himself as he fled back to his wagon and disappeared down the road, a cloud of dust trailing behind him. Daniel looked up at her, speechless. Cassidy, you didn't have to. I wanted to, she interrupted gently. You were fighting for something worth saving. He stared at the ranch, strong, whole, and golden in the fading light. For the first time in months, he felt proud again. You gave me back my home, he said quietly. Cassidy tipped her hat. And you gave me a reason to stop walking. They stood together on the porch as the sun dipped low. The land around them glowed like fire, reborn in the light of hope and hard work. Cassidy smiled. Guess you can pay your rent now, huh? Daniel laughed softly. With you around, I reckon I can buy the whole county. Her laugh rolled through the air like thunder breaking into rain. When night came, they sat watching the stars blink awake, two silhouettes against the endless western sky. Cassidy rose finally, her giant shadow stretching across the field. You keep that fire, Daniel Hart, she said softly. Because men like you make even giants feel small. Daniel smiled, tipping his hat. And giants like you make men believe again. The wind carried their laughter across the plains as the moon climbed high, shining over a ranch that had found its second chance. Even when the world feels too big and the odds too heavy, courage, kindness, and faith can rebuild anything, no matter how broken. If this story touched your heart or reminded you to never give up, subscribe to the channel for more powerful frontier tales of hope, courage, and love that will lift your spirit and make you believe again. Every story here proves one thing. Giants may shake the ground, but heroes stand tall.